All right, welcome to a very special episode of Inappropriate Earl, dedicated to a fallen comrade in the comedy business. He's maybe the most interesting man I've ever met in 15 years of stand-up in life, actually. And he's no longer at the Comedy Store. We're talking about the great Tommy Morris. Everyone had an impression of him. We all certainly have different feelings about him, and I brought two people in here today who are probably going to have different views of him than I do, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want just people shitting on him. I didn't want people just, ass-kissing him. Mm-hmm. Please put your grubby little greasy hands together for the one, the only Mr. Matt Edgar.
Thank you.
And the lovely, talented, and incredibly busty Amy Hawthorne.
Hello.
I mean, geez, I think
Incredible.
they got bigger. I know this is supposed to be about Tommy, but I'm not Stevie Wonder.
We can talk about my tits for a little while. That's fine.
I need some ratings, so I'm going to have to take a picture of you, and if you want to be in the picture, that's fine. But
there's room for me with them big titties.
I know it gets views. So here we are. It's a new era in stand-up comedy in L.A. Yeah. I don't know if this is a big story in New York or not.
Is it?
Well, this is a funny thing. So I got the news while I was at the stand. There were a few other Angelinos there, just coincidentally. So I told them, which then spread around the club and then spread around the city.
Oh.
And a couple of people asked me or asked someone, and they were like, how does New York know about it already? And someone goes, oh, Amy Hawthorne. And everyone goes, oh, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, New York knows about it.
I can't believe how quickly New York knew about it. I think that day, actually, that night.
Yep.
Like it already went,
It went viral. It was a big story.
Literally, it spread. There was a wildfire that spread through the nation.
I mean, we were in La Jolla doing Roast Battle. And,
that's right.
Oh, there must have been a...
The show went really well, so we're out to dinner after at that place, the only place that stays open by La Jolla.
That Chinese food?
It's a restaurant. No, they had like
the
burgers.
Brew House, or is it the place kind of down the street?
It's like a pool, not a pool house. It's like white food, I guess. Burgers, salads. And we were around this Last Supper-like table, and I think Marino got a phone call, and the smile on his face, I've never... He literally looked like three playmates were blowing him, and then he's like, he's gone. And I was like, who's gone? And then he gave me the gayest hug I've ever felt. And the whole table was just... Everyone was happy, but Jeff Ross wasn't really that happy. I think he was friends with Tommy, so...
Well, yeah, and he's also beyond it.
Yeah.
What
does it matter to Jeff Ross?
He can get spots. And
it's like Adam's gonna stiff Jeff Ross.
Yeah, Adam. He's. We'll talk about him. He's the the guy who's taking over the throne.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the booth.
The prince.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I've already seen some of the messages he got on his phone about 20 minutes after breaking. I mean, these comics are shameless in L.A.
Shameless.
You're not going to get passed at the store, girls, if you fuck them. I mean, you might get a development spot, but that's about it. And the guys, telling Amy, I already know of one guy who's. Bribery has been offered already.
No shit.
Yeah.
Like money?
No, not money, but just favors and things of that matter. So it's just like the animals have already come out of their cages. So one thing I will stick up for Tommy is that a lot of people now think he's gone. I've been held back just by Tommy. And, no, not just Tommy, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Or sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are going to learn a lot of hard lessons in the next few months.
Yeah. The amount of delusion that I saw happening, I was just like...
It's crazy.
Seriously, it's not like they're getting rid of all of the... It's not like they're going to say, oh, thanks, Chris D'Elia, thanks, Steve Rannazzisi, thanks, Whitney Cummings. It's been nice having you, but now that Tommy's gone, we got to bring in all these young guys and these alt comics that didn't get a chance. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm delusional, but I think I'm based in reality. I mean, some of these people. I have one. I will say this person's name off the air. I don't want to start any trouble, but they were like, "He's gone. He always fucked me over. Now I'm in." And it's like, this person's not even a comic. Like, it's,
what? Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Like, it's more of a hobby.
Oh, okay.
But Tommy was not holding this particular person back.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, I have a long list in my head of who that might be.
Oh, mine's not long at all. It's actually just one name in it.
Well, I mean,
Well, actually, I have
we'll
two,
get- we'll
but
get into
yeah.
it.
well, there's many more than this person. I mean, I see these. If you were at potluck this Monday, it's like you saw people you hadn't seen in 5 years
God,
up
I
there,
know.
and it's like don't bother.
Yeah, I felt
yeah.
so bad too. My friend Sam Morrell just came to town to do Conan, and he was trying to find just like a 6-minute drop in anywhere so he could just run the set a couple times. And I was like, any week but this week, I could absolutely get you up on Monday at the Comedy Store. No problem. I was like, but it is not.
This is
at
not the
all.
Monday.
I am
Oh,
not
This is the worst week in the
asking Adam
world
for
to-
anything.
But I will say I've noticed it's before we get into our individual feelings on Tommy, it seems happier up there. Like maybe it's just the first few days, the honeymoon phase, but like seeing Jason Galern get a good spot.
Oh yeah.
Seeing Jeff Richards go on early, it just seemed okay. I'm not mad when I see these people on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely there's more. There's like this new feeling of hope there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even a lot of people, like you said, aren't going to get the spots that they think they're going to get. They at least get to think that for now.
I know.
It's just a more positive. I don't know how long that's going to hold, but the vibe's been pretty good there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think like if Adam does it right, like I was telling Amy, it's like Jamie Flam from the Improv. You won't hear one bad word about that guy, and it's the same fucking job.
Yeah, it's just about being straightforward and setting actual expectations as opposed to, the other.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be an even tougher job at the Improv because he gets 8 spots a week to give out. Because Levity pretty much, and they don't do bringer shows there, but independently
Produced.
whatever you want. I guess it's a.
It is. It is what it is.
But I mean, like I don't think Comedy Juice is. They do shows like that, and so I think there's more industry at the Improv. So I think comics want to get in there right now more than the Comedy Store. But I think that'll change. I think Adam will bring.
Yeah, I think so too. I
And
mean, there's more industry at Meltdown Comics than there is at the Comedy Store at this point.
And that's a crime. I mean, that's like the Comedy Store should be the home base, man. But I think even Roast Battle is starting to bring in. I mean, I saw an ICM agent there 3 weeks in a row, and this guy does not waste his time.
No.
So hopefully it'll change and be good.
There's a lot, celebrities performing there more lately.
Yeah, Tosh is come in, and that was my thing with Tommy. He seemed to almost like not want them there. Like
Yeah, I never understood how many enormous drop-ins he just turned away for whatever ridiculous reason he told them, whether that was the reason he turned them away or, I don't know what was going on in his head, that I was just like, why wouldn't you do that? And I don't want to turn this into like a New York versus LA thing, but I look, any club in New York, if Tracy Morgan walks up, if Dave Attell walks up, it doesn't matter if it was his home club or he put in his dues. Just, do you want to go on? Go on.
when would you like to go on right now?
Yeah.
It's just like, when Rob Schneider went there, and people vary on him, his movies or whatever, but he's a fucking big star. And Tommy told me he can come Sundays and Mondays.
He'd had to work the back door for a little while. And
I'm surprised he didn't tell him that. But that's like, you put his name up on the marquee, the main room is sold out.
yeah.
And that's 1 or 2 less bringer shows you'd have to do.
I know. Oh my God.
And then you could reach out to people like Billy Gardell. He had the best set I've ever seen anyone have in the main room one night, standing ovation, and it was a charity show, so they weren't like fans of his. And I said, "Why aren't you up here more?" And he just kind of pointed at the booth and it's like, "That guy treated me like shit for 10 years. Why would I help him out?"
Yeah.
And he's on the number 1 or number 2 sitcom on TV, and that's a guy.
Well, you saw who returned last night.
Joey
Yes.
Diaz.
Joey.
Now, I'm assuming he didn't come the last 7 years because of his allegiance with Rogan. I don't know the full story between that whole.
Well, neither do I, but I do know that has most to do with it.
And I think the buzz is now that Rogan will come back.
Actually, I'll even take the buzz a little further.
Please do.
Well, Joe was on his way back last night. He was at the Improv, and he had told a few people that I'll see you guys up there. And this is one of those things where he probably changed his mind last minute. But I mean, he definitely entertained the thought. And Diaz was bragging about it, about how he got Joe to come back. He convinced him. Now he's going to come back because I told him, And so now that it's in his head to come back. And especially Joey's not going to let that go. Like, Diaz is going to get on Joe about it. And because he doesn't want to be wrong, that he did convince Rogan to come back. So we're going to see Joe Rogan there. And then it's going to be the Death Squad takeover.
Yeah.
The Ice House Chronicles at the Comedy Store.
I'll still call it the Ice House Chronicles.
But that could have been at the Comedy Store.
It could have been.
Probably should have been.
But I think Joe also has a slight problem with Paulie, from what I understand, or they don't like each other.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That
true.
became the issue. It is Tommy, but now that Tommy's gone, that's obviously not the issue. But
So hopefully
I guess
they
he has a
can
thing with Paulie.
squash that out.
Well, Joe should. Paulie's not there.
Yeah.
Like he's there during the day working in his office. He's not doing spots. Joe would never see him.
Well, that would be great.
Paulie, not to take anything away from Paulie, but he'd probably, if Joe were there and then Paulie showed up, Paulie'd probably leave on seeing Joe.
Right.
Because he'd be, wouldn't want shit to go down.
Well, that would be a very fast fight.
Well, not that they're actually going to fight. I doubt
No, like
they'll
the
actually.
drama, not like.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to. Yeah, he doesn't want to confront him.
Well, I don't know anyone outside of Big Wheezy who would have a chance against Rogan. Like,
I don't think Big Wheezy has a
No.
chance.
he would just fall on him, and then Joe can get
Joe
him
would
off.
find some way to reverse the momentum.
yeah.
I mean,
turned
Joe's
into
probably the
a-
only guy I'm scared of.
You know what? If Wheezy were to fall on Rogan turned into a guillotine.
He probably would. Some bizarre toe lock. Or, I can't imagine what Big Wheezy's toe
And Wheezy probably have a heart attack before he even got choked out.
He fell asleep in the driveway the other night getting into his car. Like, it was crazy. It was like, wow, man, you're going to get behind the wheel?
Didn't even like make it all the way into the seat.
No, he literally opened his car door, and before his ass hit the seat, he was like,
Jeez.
so. And that was a big thing with Tommy. Maybe his, you see, I'll just get right back into T-Bone.
Yeah.
He had an interesting relationship with ethnic comics, and I think that's a nice way to put it without getting sued by anybody.
Yeah, he had some close calls with the law when it came to that. But you know what, though? Tommy's racism really...
If he is alleged racism,
Well, let's say he is. Let's just go with it. I think that it wasn't from a place of hate. I promise you that. It really is the classic, your grandpa's racism came from ignorance. Complete just stupidity. He wasn't hateful towards anybody that wasn't white. He didn't understand people. And he also takes in what the media shows. I mean, he was real. It was plain ignorance.
Yeah, it was more
The
like
guy-
prejudice than bigotry.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guy comes from white money. You know what I mean? Like in the South. Like.
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually really liked our non-comedy conversations. We'd talk about Sons of Anarchy, which is a pretty racially motivated show, and 80s metal. He booked half those bands at T-Birds.
Yeah.
So you'd think we'd get along, but just something got lost in translation between me and him. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
exactly what it was, but like for me, I didn't think he did a good job the last couple of years, and because I just didn't like the mind games he would play, and I think it just made his job that much harder.
Yeah, I think he probably spun up too many storylines with guys, because he always had that thing where he'd go, well, it's all part of the plan. Okay, I have a plan for you. Everybody had a plan, and I think he'd forget that he told people their plan, or it would intertwine with other people's plans, and then He also did a thing that I always hated this because it kind of just it caused more drama than like. He would like say I would get a spot, like a decent spot, he would always make a note to go, well, I didn't give Hinchcliffe that spot. I didn't give Benji that spot. I didn't give Sandy that spot. And he would almost make it like, I'm giving you more than these guys. And then he would go on about why they didn't get a spot. And so now he's really just talking shit. And he would also say things to you hoping that, and you wrote that in your article, that like he's very manipulative. Like he would say things to you so you would say them to other people without saying that.
Yeah.
So he would cause shit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think after the years of playing around like that, it just kind of got to the point where like he was done, dude. Look, I love Tommy. Like, he got me started. He gave me a job when I was 21 years old, parking cars there. Like, I'll always love him, but I completely agree with the fact that there needs to be a change. And I don't even care why he got fired or anything like that. I think that it's appropriate that job does change. He was numb to it. He was done. He was leaving the booth at 10:30. So if the show starts at 9 and it goes until 2, he's there for an hour and a half, and that's all he's watching. He's not watching anything after 10:30. You're supposed to coordinate a show, and you have no idea what's going on past 10:30 into late night. And he also never looked at the developmental spots. He wasn't going upstairs in the belly room, or he wasn't going in the main room. He would sit in that booth for about an hour and a half, and he'd go up and tell everybody about their comedy. And that's not like, where's the coordinating in that? Like, the lineups were the same, and yeah, he'd give famous comedians the business. And I don't know, man. Like, I think he did a lot good when he first got there, and I think for a while. I remember as a door guy watching the shows, they were good, and I liked his method. I liked that it was exclusive, and there's, to an extent, credits couldn't get you in necessarily. And I like the rawness of the store, but I think he got carried away with it, and I think that it was time for a change. And I also think, like Amy wrote,
a great article, by the way.
Great article.
Thank you, guys.
And it was in the middle, I thought. It wasn't pro.
Yeah.
It wasn't anti.
No, it was just fact.
Yeah.
It was straight.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's straight fact.
Yeah.
It was like, and what you said about Adam was brilliant. Is that, like, look, man, here's a guy that has so much charisma and, like, the enthusiasm behind that spot that Tommy had lost years ago. And on his first week is already doing all those things I said Tommy didn't do. First of all, he watches the OR shows.
Yeah.
He'll take a break when somebody like Cap's on stage. You don't have to worry about developing Cap. He goes upstairs. What's going on in the developmental spots that I handed out? Are these guys just getting what they deserve, and watching the potluck, taking notes.
Yeah.
Like, he literally takes notes, and, like, he has this sense of pride behind it that Tommy just did not have anymore.
Yeah.
So I think good things are to come. I think this is a good thing. Do I miss Tommy? Absolutely. Tommy to me felt like family. It's weird. Like, one of the few days that I came back, I wasn't gonna forget that Tommy's gone and have one of those moments where hey, what? Oh, like, he's not beyond the booth anymore. I had accepted that he was gone, but what I didn't anticipate was the first time I'd see somebody like Jeff Scott or like Rose, or like people that are just kind of stables there, that is your family. Mm-hmm. Like, that's my entire adult life has been spent at that place. Like all these people, like, I felt like there was a death in my family, and I lost somebody. And I remember seeing Jeff and talking to Jeff Scott and being like, God, like, dude, I'm so glad you're still here. And he thought I was talking about his AIDS. He's like, me too, man. Fuck, 20 years. Like, no. I mean, like, here at the store, like, we lost Tom. He's like, oh, right, yeah, me too.
It's interesting to me that in your mind, there's been this sort of recent downturn of basically sort of his methods got, like, pathological, as a way to put it.
Yeah.
But, like, because I wonder now, I had always assumed, because I had a very good relationship with Tommy when I first came around. It's really only been in the past year and a half, 2 years, that it went downhill. And I just always assumed that was just mine and his path. But, I wonder if it actually corresponds to externally his just...
Well, yeah, his relationships with people. Like, dude, I remember being really close to him for a long time. Like, people thought, like, everybody thought that, like, he was, kind of helping me out under the table to even get in there. And he definitely, when I was a door guy there, like, I was just talking about this today, actually, and I forgot about it, that, like, I was the first out of my class to get passed as a paid regular there. And I was also going down to La Jolla more than anybody. So everybody had this thing, like, that there's this, like, Tommy just loves Matt. Like, he'll just do anything for Matt. And then, but, that I've been a paid regular for 5 years, and I haven't seen a spot before midnight, aside from opening the show a few times, which is even worse, and ever. until Adam came in. Like literally, my first spot with Adam at the helm was 1145 main room. It was like I had never seen anything like that there, and Tommy was always like, we're gonna start bringing you in earlier. He would give me the business, but then there was that like, he would either forget or just something would come up, and it just never happened. And that's what I'm talking about. That loss of pride is that like, for a while he had pride in me. Like and I'm just talking personally, like. He had that with a lot of people. A lot of people had great relationships with Tommy. But with me, he made me feel like it was coming. And then I realized after like a year of him telling me this, like, oh, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to have to outlive Tommy or get some credits or like do something else. You know what I mean? And then, of course, we saw it through. But I think this is good. Honestly, I think this is good for guys like you that like those underrated. I mean, you're so underrated. And like so many... Not so many. There's a few people that aren't in that should be in. Like you, why is Yasser not in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
why is who's that guy?
I could think of one reason, maybe his skin hue.
Well, but also too, I mean, like, so I had this whole conversation, and hopefully it isn't blowing anything up, with Brenton Biddlecombe a couple months back about like,
watch out! I'm just kidding.
Who are the women that need? We don't have enough women. It's crazy that we're relying on basically 3 women. And of course, generally speaking, Tommy wants a girl to open the show, so that's the only spot. And why does it? Why are there not any other women here? Why haven't there been new women in so long? And he was like, so who are the girls? The alt girls that are funny that could make it here. Mm-hmm. Like, who are those that we could bring in? I was like, well, I don't know. In our development system, I can name 5 right now that just should be passed. Like, I don't understand. So like, Candace Thompson is a great example of someone else who just I do not understand why she's still sitting around waiting for 3 hours on a Monday night.
3, probably close to 5.
Well,
you know what? You know what's kind of crazy? The last person that Tommy passed,
Who? Jamar. Right?
Jamar Neighbors.
I know.
You knew
No,
the world.
He went down
after
swinging.
Jamar.
No.
No?
Well, I mean, I had to pass a few of them. Saying
Moses was before. Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I thought he passed Jamar first, and I was like, I think he's just doing that to fuck with Moses.
Maybe, but I'm pretty sure.
But I mean, he was past. That's the funniest thing is he was passing black comics toward the end.
Right.
So I think maybe
He could tell they were gunning for him.
he possibly thought that that could have been an angle they could use to get rid of him. But you can't really say he had a problem with any race if he was passing them.
Yeah.
Them like now I'm turning
We
into
also don't
Tommy.
know what Tommy knew. Like, we don't know if he had known this was coming.
Yeah.
I think he might have thought, because I had actually heard about it a month or two before it happened, that that they're getting ready to give him the boot. And
Well, I think he had people high up who worked there who weren't fans of his, and these people had maybe, I'm just guessing, I have no mole, but these people were coming from other comedy clubs where it's run kind of by the book, and your talent coordinator isn't, like you said, leaving an hour into the show to play guitar in the lobby and do whatever else.
yeah, he would nap, dude. I'd go up there in the office. He'd be just mouth open. Like,
Oh my God.
But I mean, if you did that at Hermosa, I mean,
Yeah,
that guy
he was
watches
gone.
every comic, and like you said, he didn't see what was going on late night. And like about 2 weeks ago, I'll tell you guys who this was off the air, but I'm not trying to shit on anyone, but this person was supposed to go next. Dean Del Rey was on, doing well, and they just had this utter look of disgust on their face, and they just walked to their car and left. Didn't tell the cover booth guy, hey, I'm going to leave, I don't feel good. And their punishment was the next day their name's on the marquee. And it's like, if you did that at Hermosa, which I think should be the gold standard of how a club is run, you'd never get a spot there again.
yeah.
Not get your name up on the marquee.
Dude. Tommy was kind of like Tommy was like Eric Bischoff.
The wrestling referencing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Eric Bischoff was a promoter for this wrestling company, and he would keep all the big guys on top, but wouldn't develop any of the guys until eventually these old guys are getting too old, and the company fell under for years of this. And it's like, not to say that the comedy store would have fallen under because of that, but like that was definitely Tommy's method. Was he had his elite group for a decade.
Yeah.
And those were just his guys, and there was no budging them. He would even give them more spots in one night. And like I said, dude, there's too many people. Like, why isn't that fucking guy, like Grant Cotter should be in there? Like, there's young dudes. Look at, I have a philosophy. I do a lot of late night there. And Earl, I think that you're an exception to this. I think Teeb's an exception to this. But late night should be a young man's game. It's late. Why would anybody?
Yeah.
Like those are miserable spots. Like nobody would want that, but they are necessary for a developing comic. The first 10 years in, like why not go up late night and see what it's like to wake the dead? You know what I mean? It's a good lesson in comedy. But he would like put up, aside from me, he'd put up people that were. There's not too old in comedy, but there's too old when you're not trying. You know what I mean? Like there's no more effort. Like they're not trying to build an act. They're literally just showing up for their late night spot. They're not doing comedy anywhere else. You don't see them anywhere else. They're showing up for that late spot and that's it. Like they should be gone. Like this isn't a charity case. Put fucking Amir there. You know what I mean? Like put somebody that like would be there and like would be into being there, and not just like up there ranting about like whatever. You would do the reason you're an exception. Like you do so good at Dawn's thing late night that you would easily kill in a late night crowd. I mean, I think in your own stand up, like without Dawn or anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd prefer to. I mean, I love Dawn and I appreciate all the stuff I've done with him late night, but obviously I want to be seen as a comic up there at some point. And I mean, I would agree with you from the standpoint. I don't know if I agree necessarily like a young comic, because I think you need strong comics at that hour of the night.
Well, but like
I don't mean like famous comics.
Okay, you're right. When I say
I mean like a Triple E.
When I
someone who can handle a room.
Right, and I'm not, when I say young, I don't mean like I'm talking like guys that they're still fresh. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to be young. Amir's like 33 or some shit. You know what I mean? Like not that that's old, but it's like
I'd kill to be 33 right now.
But I mean I could list actual names, and we don't want to go down that path. But people that get those spots that it's like
or initials. But no, I will give
deniability. I was talking about this other guy with your initials.
Right. I give Tommy this. I think you are one of the few people that I saw him actually develop. Mm-hmm. Like from the first time I met you to tonight, you've grown 100-fold. Mm-hmm. And not that you were bad when I first saw you, but
I was.
Well,
everyone is. I was horrible when I first started. Right. So I will give him that credit, but I didn't see him do that with a lot of other people.
Yeah, well, he did that for me in the developmental part of that. Like he did that for me in the, as an employee or friend of like those developmental spots. He had my back all throughout that. But once I was past, he kicked me in the late night and never touched me for 5 years. I almost felt like, dude, like this is my own little my own personal bitchiness, but like one thing that like would always like kind of bum me out was like he made me feel like I was an over-the-hill comedian already.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that, like, my time had come. I blew it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd already blown it at 26, 27. Like, I'm at the end of this thing. And, like, and then also, like, what came with being the first passed in my class is, like, when everybody when everyone else got passed, I thought for sure, like, oh, well, that's cool. We'll all be together. But no, they just got thrown right in front of me. You know what I mean? And, like, everybody that got passed after me got in front of me. I was bringing up Dawn every night. You know what I mean? Like, that was my spot for the past 5 years. So, yes, he developed me for maybe the first – I've been doing stand for 7 years. So, definitely the first 4 years I'd give to him. But the past – since I've been a paid regular, was just, like, Trevino taking him out, Garland taking me, right. The guy's literally showing me how to do stand-up on the road.
I mean, yeah, see, I just don't get why he would treat you like that. Why, like he once told Adam, and maybe I shouldn't have said Adam's name, but it's too late now. Yeah. Hey, Earl's the next guy I'm going to pass. Knowing that Adam would tell me, like, within 5 minutes, I get all jacked up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, why? Like, it goes back to what you were saying. Like, he would tell, like, you something about Hinchcliffe, maybe. Like, and then knowing that you would tell Tony 2 minutes later.
Which none of us would.
Yeah.
That was
I think some would.
This is the craziest thing, though, too. It always drove me crazy because I was like, I know you think you're smarter and better than all of us because he would tell me that all the time.
Yeah.
But, not necessarily. Like, the last time I came back for a couple weeks, literally the first things he said to me was a whole thing about how David Taylor miffed the early spot he gave him and something about Tony that I don't even remember.
Yeah.
And the whole time I just was like, you like, what kind of an idiot do you think I am that I'm going to be like, I'm going to run back and tell you this bad gossip that Tommy said about you? I mean, like, I did also tell both of them. I was like, so David, Tommy wants you to, but I cut to the chase. I was like, I'm not going to tell you the story Tommy told me. I'm going to tell you what he wants you to do and why he told it to me.
Right.
And that was just always such a weird thing. But there was so long that I was like willing to go along with the Tommy tea leaves, as I like to call it, of just the crazy, like he'd tell someone something and he said he had a plan and maybe he just got stoned and forgot, or maybe he never intended to do it. Because I did feel like it was, I've always wondered, and this will be an interesting, test to find out, how much of the good of the store, of the fact that there is a development system, that you can't buy your way in with credits, went along with the crazy that Tommy brought to it. Because like that was his defense mechanism for dealing with 1,000 billion people that always wanted something from him. And like, is there another way to do it and keep that same spirit going?
Yeah, I think he was constantly, for a while, like, dude, that's what, it's hard to talk about Tommy because I feel like there's different Tommies.
Yeah.
I feel like the Tommy that got fired isn't the Tommy that I'm talking about. That was like a beat to dead man. That was a shell of Tommy. The past year was a shell. What you're saying was like, because I remember, man, when I got there, he had a spark. Dude, the guy was the first person in the OR. He turned on the house lights at the end.
Right.
After Barris Kennedy overdrive got off, he's the guy that turns on the lights. All right, everybody, we're done. He'd close up shop. Like, he had all he just loved it, every second of it. And I think he also really took a lot of pride in Mitzi's formula of like, the rawness and getting guys, and like how she would turn down. You hear those stories about, Seinfeld couldn't get in, or like Dane, or like
Gary
these guys.
Shanley.
Well, Gary Shanley was
in. Eventually.
Oh, eventually, yeah. I guess he showcased like 9 times or something like that.
Kennison was only allowed to perform in the ballet room.
Yeah, and then you know how he ended up getting other spots?
Didn't he save? I don't want to mention the person's name.
No, it's all good. This is all his. You could read about this shit.
Didn't he save Mitzi from Argus?
Yeah,
possibly a domestic, domestic situation in the parking lot.
Apparently, he was going down in one of the offices, and I don't know what we wandered into an office, and like Argus was beating the shit out of Mitzi, and he fucked Argus up, and then he got spots. This is a different Argus. The Argus we know wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably the most loving, sensitive guy. Yeah, kind that you could just, and kind of like Frage too. I heard Frage used to be a dick. Like,
well, I think the powdered refreshments were in full force.
I love your evasiveness.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing like
we are being legally safe here.
Well, I mean, I
comedians. A lot of comedians have done coke.
Yeah,
that's no secret.
Drugs.
But I mean, Frasier and Argus were on another level.
Yeah.
Of
well, it was also
sugar.
a different era.
Different
too.
era when
that everyone was just. Oof.
I mean, the first thing, if you're to bring up their coke days, they love talk about how pure it was. You know what I mean? Like that. The coke was different, so.
And they were successful. I mean,
they were successful.
Like Frasier, people forget how he was the Howard Stern of L.A.
Yeah,
mammoth.
When the first time I ever told my dad, and I even know this about Frasier, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing the road with this guy Frasier Smith." It was like, the Frasier Smith from K-Rock, and it was like, yeah, you know him? Like, oh my god, know him. And it was it was the first time my dad was kind of impressed with something I was doing in my career. It made me look cool working with Frasier.
And Argus, I think, had like the most pilots ever, or like
most
development
deals. He had the record for most Tonight Show appearances as a stand-up comedian. But he also had, he was in line to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I actually saw the Sandy used to work in the phones room there, and we would watch all these old tapes of like stuff that would go down in the Comedy Store, and like some rare shit like Kinnison in the OR, like Robin Williams in La Jolla, like some dope shit, you know what I mean? But he also had Argus's test for the Tonight Show.
Wow.
And you see this young, jacked up Argus look like Ric Flair, man, like just white hair, just blazing. And then that nothing came of it. I don't know what went down. Everyone wants to say coke. I'm sure that had something to do with it, but like,
I mean, it probably burned some bridges with the wrong people. I mean,
he was beating up comedy club owners at the same time, so
the comedy club owners.
Yeah, so it kind of might have leaked into like the daytime shit.
It's not like he was punching Sal in the back of the paper over some missed payments on.
Yeah, I mean, I've punched Sal a bunch of times, and look at what's gotten me.
But I mean, I'll say this about Sal: he's probably been the nicest to me in LA comedy in terms of like just overall non-bullshit and niceness. But it's too bad that I think that could have been a viable option in comedy.
Really could have. That was. Remember that beautiful time on La Brea when it was like the great white hope of LA comedy, that it was like that rock and roll vibe and that
Sal's
weird.
fall under?
No, it's still there, but it just, in the place on Melrose with all that time when it was closed with the renovations and the thing and all that stuff, it just kind of lost that steam. And you know how hard it is to get people to come watch comedy in LA.
Yeah.
If you're not the thing that's got all the buzz and you're not one of these big three, you really not.
Well, he doesn't have names.
Yeah.
We did though for a bit. He had Rogan doing a weekly show and it was packed.
Yeah, every time.
But I just think too many bad shows. I mean, I think like Brian Ross had a show there which was just awful. I mean, just some guy talking about diarrhea and people are eating and
it looks really cool now, but even it's still they still haven't worked out the kinks. You could tell when a club's new by the lighting, the sound. A lot of people got to realize how to. I always hate those clubs where the stage is too high.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's a real thing. Like you can't be that much higher above the audience. You got to be down with the people. Yes, you got to be a little bit above because you're performing and people in the back need to see you. But like to be that high above, like their head is where your feet are. Like that. I don't know, man. I'm a comedian of the people. I like being in there, like connecting. I feel like so disconnected. I'm a people's champ, man.
People's
I'm like
champ, Matty
the
X.
Rock.
But you are right, because if you ever do the Chicago Improv, it's like you're God performing to the little people.
Man, I can't.
It's awful.
Yeah, dude. You don't look as vulnerable when you're literally standing above everyone, like you're the president giving like a speech.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so it's an interesting time at the store. I think people are curious as to.
Well, right now is pretty dope too because Adam is just getting his sea legs.
I love Adam. He's the best.
He's learning how he's getting confidence in it. Like no big moves yet. You know what I mean? Like I like that. Like there's kind of this stillness and everybody's like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? You know what what it reminds me of? I hate to go back to wrestling. Just really quick, I just got to drop this analogy.
I'll follow the context.
It's kind of like when WWE bought WCW, and then it was like everyone's like, well, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like who's coming in? Like who knew's gonna come in? And is there gonna be like is there gonna be like an invasion, like a Laugh Factory invasion, or like some like
alt comic invasion? Yeah,
but Adam, like you can kind of like predict what, like not really predict because there'll probably be some wild cards. But what's funny was like the first time I saw him since he got that gig, and that was another thing too, Earl, that I wish you would have seen this, Amy. That week that happened, it really was like there was a death, like. It wasn't as celebratory. Like most people, like the first time I saw Adam when I got there was on a Wednesday at a late spot, probably rolled through around 11. And I see Adam and I go to give him a fist bump, and his arms are wide open. He brings me into this big old bear hug, and he's like, "How you doing, man? Are you okay?"
Come on, man.
Then it hit me like, oh my god, everybody's mourning right now.
Yeah.
Like I thought everybody would be happy. Like not that I was sad too. It like made me feel good to be like. Fuck, dude. Yeah, I mean, I feel okay, but I cried in the shower earlier.
Yeah, it's different.
But it's so funny because his whole thing was like, all right, first things first, and then it was like all these different things that are going to be the first things first, like all the trash he's going to be throwing out. You know what I mean? Like, dude, he's bringing back showcases. That's such a good idea.
God,
like the store was built on that.
Well, now people who have development spots have it like hope, like, oh, maybe I will.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Guys that Ed Greer
There's a marker.
Yeah, like beasts like Ed Greer have it. Like it's more like it's more fair, I think, because Adam really does lead with what's funny and like what's good and like, dude, the guy's been working in the comedy world for a decade. And he knows a lot of people, and like, I mean, even since he's had the gig, like, I'm not saying it's because of him, but I do know that he got Spade over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one. Tosh has been coming through. Norm came by.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
At 2 a.m, he's killing.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And
yeah.
I don't remember a joke he was saying, but it was just like people started coming in, and it was just.
I brought him up that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought for sure the show was done, and like, I'd gotten everybody, like, it was such a rough set too. It was like no energy, and it was about like the people that were. I mean, I was able to. It was fun to like laugh at how horrible this room was. It was kind of like it's like a cliche of mine that like when there's nothing else to talk about, or not even talk about, like why get, there's like no point in getting into material, those kind of rooms where it's like
the OR.
The OR, where it's like sometimes there's that there's nothing you could do, there's no material, you really just got to riff off the like where you are, the now, and I think the thing that was funny about that room was how torn apart it was. And then it was a very lighthearted, we all had a good time, but then like it seemed like when I was closing out that it was over, like people were gonna leave. And then I'm like, all right, who is it? Do I bring up Don? And there's like, Jeff Scott's on that side piano. Like, no, Norm Macdonald's here. And everybody's like, whoa. And whoa. Like, see?
And he killed.
Oh, dude, he went up and immediately killed. And not just like, he's not a rock star killer. He's like this very like soft-spoken type. I love that kind of comedy too. It's like, it really comes down to his choice of words that he uses. And he just is soft, like, his tempo is a little bit lower. I just love it, dude. And normally in that hour that's a good hour for that. But like, I mean, this show was done. Like there was nothing after me. Like, well, I mean, Dawn would have been able to do something, obviously, but then when Norm came up and just immediately got him, I was like, fuck, dude.
Wow.
Well, he's like a great model of the business because, back in '92, Bushman beat him in Star Search.
Yeah, man, you gotta love that.
That's like, you should never listen to anyone who says you're not good or whatever.
Star Search, at least.
Well, yeah, definitely. Coked up and drunk Ed McMahon picking Bushman in his safari outfit over one of the great comics of our time.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
But I think even Adam's most questionable choices will at least be funny. Tommy's last couple years of questionable choices was like, what is this person doing on stage? And they would be getting spots.
Yeah.
Well,
Tommy made choices based off of what he, what it was going to look like. You know what I mean? Like, he made choices based off the image of the store. And I think that Adam, just as the kind of guy he is, he's first of all, Adam's funny. Yeah. Adam's a funny guy. Tommy wasn't funny. Adam, literally, like, he's one of the guys that, like, you could kick it with him and you'll definitely laugh. And he'll laugh if you're funny. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't hold back laughs, and like Tommy always held back laughs. I could always see it. That, or he just didn't get it. He just didn't know. What I would give Tommy about his talent career that I thought was really good is he put a big emphasis in beats and timing and rhythm. We'd always make fun of that, but like that's an important. Well, dude, like, isn't that important though? Like, isn't rhythm like and tempo something important? I mean, comedy's all timing, so. I just think it's cool that there was a talent coordinator looking at it because he came from that music background, but he wasn't about what was funny. I don't think he really understood funny.
See, that's what I think he should have been. Like, at the end of the day, it's about getting laughs.
Right? Yeah. Getting laughs.
You could have great
but I don't like your beats. Yeah, but Adam understands laughs and what's funny. Just as a funny guy, can make choices based off what's funny.
And I think Adam... Oh, go ahead, Amy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, kind of to your point, and I said this in the article a little bit, but to expand it, like, it was a weird thing, and this was my theory on why everything went so downhill in the past couple of years with him, and maybe it's why he lost faith or confidence or whatever, but, like, he really did still believe or wanted to believe in this myth of what the Comedy Store was 15, 20 years ago. And I think that informed so many things in a very negative way sometimes because it was just like... anything that challenged that idea, he immediately rejected. And it was like, well, actually, here's the thing is there's this whole new trend. And, it's not like I'm saying, oh, we got to get all these alt comics in because that's what's hot. Like, you don't need to pass. Dimitri Martin doesn't need to come to the store. He's great, but I don't see him in the OR. But, like, Kyle Kinane, Pete Holmes, those guys would rock it there. And to just, like, not be able to even open up your brain enough to fit into, like, okay, let me assess this and see if it changes how I feel about things. Doesn't match this formula. It doesn't match this idea I have, so I'm not going to do it.
He's very closed-minded.
Yeah.
Totally closed-minded. He had a cool thing, though, about, like, he definitely did push the young guys. Like, of course, I could get behind that, but, like...
Yeah, but you're funny, man. You deserve it.
Well, but he definitely made an emphasis, like, when some guys were just getting too old, like... I mean, obviously not, like, he didn't clean as much house as he should have, but like he definitely gave young people chances just based off of like if you have charisma. But like you said, dude, he didn't get what was funny. Like that's just not a good way to gauge like who should be in at a comedy club. You know what I mean?
Well, they seem to reward almost like bad behavior too. Like,
oh, dude, there'd be and not.
But on stage, I don't.
He would not award good behavior.
Yeah, I mean, one night a young comic, was twirling the drapes, going. This is like 3 or 4 minutes into their set.
You bring this up a lot. I love it.
But it's
so true. It's such a great example of.
And he was in the booth, and they were. I don't even want to be up here. I don't
was
even.
Was it you and who was also?
Me and Tebow were
you
in
and
the
Tebow
back.
were in the back, which is the perfect guys to be watching that.
But since and she's or he or they. I don't even like stand up. I've got too much going on, and the crowd's just looking at this person.
And it's early. It's early. It's like they are like the second comedian.
And it's not. I'm
We
not
can
gonna
just
lie.
say she now. I think we.
Yeah,
unless you're
he's
editing
she,
this
he's
out.
she.
Yeah. By the way, I
don't edit anything.
By the way, as some of the people I bring up as great as they can be, like Norm, I brought up her that night.
So you brought up they that night.
I brought up that person.
But and so she's shitting on the stage time, and once again the reward was 3 spots the next week.
Yeah.
And it's like, going back to Hermosa, it's like if you sat there on Hermosa's stage, and I'm not even in at Hermosa that much, so it's not like I'm trying to kiss their ass. You would never get a spot again.
Yeah.
And that's what I disliked, and it goes back to him going upstairs a quarter into the show and doing whatever he was doing up there, sleeping, playing guitar, maybe eating some hippie lettuce, whatever. It's like, you don't see a basketball coach leave halfway through the first quarter.
Yeah, man.
You guys figure it out.
And I don't know how he decided on like some of the choices he made that would go down after 10:30. Or at least late night. Let's just take. I'd say late nights about 11:30, 11:45 on. I don't know how he made what he based any of those choices off of. He didn't see any of those guys. When was the last time he watched Byron Bowers? When was the last time he actually watched Leonard? Or
You're right.
He didn't, but he would just figure out like I don't know how he'd decide who would get 11:45 versus who would get 12:15.
Well, I think it was like a bot at one point, and he just would like literally go Byron Bowers 12:30. Matt Edgar, 12:45. Don Barris, and he just.
I mean, it was like a blueprint. Rose and I used to joke about that. Like I'd walk up to the bar and she'd be like, "You want to try to tell me the lineup tonight?" And I would.
Yeah,
I would be 90 to 100% right.
Yeah, you know what? I always said he stopped making the lineup at about 11:30, and then it was just, all right, I got to get these guys in here.
Like I call them fuck off spots. Well, I'll give this guy
totally.
so he won't bother me, or girl, and I just I don't know. It seemed like he loved the mind fucks, and Mitzi was legendary for that, but he wasn't Mitzi. It's like it's like if you're a basketball coach coming in after Phil Jackson, you can't act like Phil Jackson because you're not Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
I saw him when I put Melissa Villasenor up at like 12:45, and she's great, with the impressions and like safe comedy, I guess you'd say, but she's not a late night comic.
Not at all.
And why would you do that to her?
Yeah.
It's just a fuck with her.
Right.
Yeah.
And she, on the opposite, he put Annie Letterman, who I love. We didn't start off loving each other, but put her on first.
I'm very fond of Annie.
Oh, she's the best.
Yeah.
We got off kind of on the wrong foot, but
Were you inappropriate to her, Earl?
no, she like kind of had an attitude with me, and I'm a pretty nice guy, I think, and I was like, who the fuck are you? But then we grew to like each other, and
My first time meeting Annie was so awkward because I got introduced to her by Chris Burns, and I had just gotten off of a potluck spot where MTV was in the room, and I was one of the guys that they were there to see, and I made a really bad. This was years ago. This was like one of my, I'll always look back at this night and be like, oh, stupid kid trying to do stand up. But for some reason at the time, I was like, I had no material, but I got really good at like that late night thing. But this was like a packed crowd, so I treated it like such a late night. Like I got high as shit. and walked in there and just ate shit. And the first time I met, so right after, I literally come outside, come around the back, I see Chris Burns. And he's like, "Hey, have you met Annie?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey," and she, she's like, "Oh, hey, I just saw you. You're very." But this is what I love about Annie is that she's very honest. Like she was about to say I was funny. She's like, "Oh man, you're really, that was okay."
No, you're right. See, I prefer honesty.
I prefer that over.
Yeah.
That's what made
All
me
the
like
time.
her. Was like, oh, dope. She's not whoever this is. I have no idea who you are, but she's not full of shit. And then who would have? I mean, well, I guess it was in the stars that she'd be getting in there.
Well, she's great. But
Yeah, she's amazing.
Why would you put her on first, though? I mean, you're almost.
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
dumb.
not that she isn't
Did he do that?
capable of.
No, but
oh,
she's-
absolutely. It was a 9:00 spot in the OR. I mean, that's a spot I would say give to Melissa or I don't know, like Argus or someone just and that's what I didn't like about him.
Willie.
Yeah,
Willie, that should be
Willie's
Willie's
great.
a great opener.
I mean, you wouldn't put Don Barris
No.
first, but he could probably handle it because of the crowd work he does at Kimmel is, it's a different.
Oh,
Don.
he definitely. I've
He
seen
could do
Don.
it, but it wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't enjoy it because I'd be like, that's not the Don.
Eat
I
that
love.
pussy, Don. At
I saw
9.
I saw Don go up at 9:45 one night and just destroy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was ABC comedy.
Oh, he's
It was
great.
it was the same thing if you ever go see him at Kimmel, which I love. I love Don every way I get him. Like I think he's that guy changes and we haven't talked in years, but that guy changes the climate of the room. You know
Well,
what I'm
he's
saying?
an intimidating guy. I
Yeah,
mean, when he
he's-
walks in the room,
Right. Oh yeah. He's a power.
yeah.
You could feel him.
You literally can
He's
behind
so
your
big.
back.
He's
off
so
the
big that
side.
every stomp, and he's not. Well, I mean, he's not like fat. He's there's this body to muscle. His calves are huge. So when he walks into that crickety OR, you hear him like. Dush, dush, dush. You
like
see that
a-
big white figure in the back.
I feel like there's sometimes it's not even the hearing that there's it's just his personality is so big
Yeah.
it alters the vibe of the universe.
Yeah, his presence is just overwhelming.
Very few people have that. Like
Yeah.
when they walk into a room, it's like a cold wind. You're
Yeah,
like, "What's in
totally.
here?"
But he's able to go, we see him do the late night stuff and we laugh our asses off and we even get to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But, you go see him do Kimmel, it's clean because it's
Yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
people. And I like that a little bit more just because it's so, he's more of that, that big old
I love it when
white
he
bread
does
laugh.
that.
Yeah.
He's more that character because he's kind of just playing into, these are the people that are here right now.
Yeah.
And I have no choice. I can't talk about eating the vagina.
Yeah, I
front
don't
of
think
Disney
Disney would be
execs.
too hip with that, but I think it's a good thing for the club. And
I do too, man. I
Yeah,
think it
I'm
was a long
very-
time coming. I think Adam's just the guy. I think
Yeah.
he's poised to do it. I think it's going to be hard for him to turn down all that puss, but
well, it's tough. I mean, I've seen the phone already blowing
Yeah, me
up
too.
like
I
a
love
Tinder
it.
account.
God, it's
that's
so
gone-
funny.
I think my favorite thing is he just goes, Amy, it's like water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Yeah, well,
'Cause I mean, we'll, whatever. We'll see how long
Yeah, well.
the resolve lasts. But I feel like he's really gonna, he doesn't want to blemish.
No, he's going to stick to his
anything.
guns
He's
on this.
gonna, He doesn't want. If he's gonna pass someone, he wants people to not be like, well, yeah, she just used to blow him, or she did, or
he'll get
whatever.
thirsty
Right.
real fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: is Adam is a good-looking guy,
Great-looking
and he's
guy.
fun and funny. He can. Not that he has time to is, I guess, probably the problem. But he can go meet waitresses somewhere else. He can
Yeah,
go,
but- the store is just it's like that bagel shop right down the street from your
Yeah.
house. Why go to the one 2 miles down?
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I can't throw stones at that house, but
Oh no! But I mean, I don't know. I like I said, I think even his worst choices in people's opinions will be funny.
oh yeah,
Whereas,
Yeah, he'll always lead with funny.
but these one girl I know called in her avails last week. She's not even on
What?
friends and
I
family or
love it.
anything.
God, I just wish I could. Do you know who it is?
Oh, absolutely. I'll say off the air.
Yes.
yes.
But it's she's not even she doesn't even get development spots.
Right.
She just someone
She
told
just
her
gets dick.
it'll be so crazy up there if you call in.
What?
They'll just give you a spot. I mean, these are the schemes and scams going on right now.
Jesus, that's the opposite too. Because for some reason in New York, a bunch of my friends are photographers and managers. That's who I hang out with all the time. And all my manager friends were like, "Oh, hey, what does this mean? And can I start calling in for my people?" And I was like, Here's how you're still going to play it. It's not that much different, other than Adam will actually give you an answer and probably knows who your client is.
Yeah, that's what I had 3 people ask me last night, how should I play it? And I said, give it a few weeks.
Not even weeks. I'd say like a month or 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least.
That was what I said though too. Is like there's a bunch of people coming in next week. I was like, nope, they're just going to get lost. In
you
the
know what's going to
shuffle.
happen? What needs to happen before more people come in is that the inevitable is that people need to get thrown out, and also people need to know people that one of my favorite things that are happening. This is a phenomenon that I knew it would happen one day when Tommy would lose the job, but Tommy ran a lot of people out. Right?
Yeah.
Am I right to say that?
That is accurate.
Well, I disagree.
All those people are coming back. You see these guys kicking in the hallways, and it's just disgusting because they think like you said, man, like they think that Tommy was the thing that held them back, and that's just not the case. So those people need to go. Those people need to get shooed off. The people that are in that shouldn't be in anymore, they need to get shooed off, and then
then there's room.
And I'm totally about people coming in. You know what I mean? Like, God, dude, there's so many guys like there's just so many guys and gals that should be.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to see Jen Murphy in there. Like I want to see
Oh, she should be definitely
She
a girl
absolutely.
pass.
She was on my list too. I'll just mention that.
But I mean, I brought up 4 names to Amy before you got here, like Anthony Jeselnik, Tom Segura, Nick Swartz, and I think I didn't say Ian Bagg. Like
That's asking kind of a lot. No, I'm kidding. Those are great names.
But I mean,
those are like.
But why not?
give them one spot a week, all 4 of those.
Yeah.
Over some of the interesting.
Out to pasture, folks.
Yeah, well, I hate to say that. I mean, some people might say I'm out to pasture, but there needs to be new blood. Not just an upgrade in talent of what gets on that stage.
Well, I'll tell you something else that was beautiful about last night and Diaz coming back. Did you see when Diaz got there?
I got there too late. But.
Okay, yeah. So I left before you got there. Diaz, and I'd never met the guy. I'd only heard the legend of. I'd never seen his comedy or anything like that. And he went up and talk about what the OR is. You know what I mean? Like this guy, the first thing that came to mind was like the first word that I could think of was ballsy. Mm-hmm. Just a big set of balls up there. And he just, he'd go up there and just that train of thought would just come in. He was great. But then after he got off, when he walks in the parking lot, he's sweaty, like steam coming off his wet forehead. And I've never seen so many people just surround one guy, especially somebody who's not that famous. Like it really was about his energy. He's kind of like I wish I had a good metaphor. I was gonna say the eye of a hurricane because it's all like kind of.
Dude, give it a wrestling reference.
He's like
Sorry, Amy,
he's
sorry.
like RVD.
You don't have to apologize.
He's like
No,
RVD.
you're right.
Where
You have the best references.
He's unorthodox, and people any wrestler that knows RVD backstage or has ever worked with him would tell you that like everybody would just be around him after. Like he was just so great, good energy to be around, like good to talk to. He loves. That's one thing I can tell about Joey. And I don't even know the guy, just met him, but everybody that was approaching him, he loved everyone. Mm-hmm. Like even if he didn't know him, he was literally Uncle Joey.
Yeah.
And people have been saying that for years, like. And I'm always like, not my uncle, but like, dude, I totally see this guy being my Uncle Joey. Like, he just has that Uncle Joey feel to him. But he also said something on stage that just, and it just sums up what the store is perfectly. He's like, because he's so candid about everything. When he brought up Tommy while he's on stage, as if like everybody knew what was going on, and that's how funny it was. Like everybody was laughing at everything he was saying about Tommy, which is like, how do you even know what's going on?
Yeah. But
he said something like. You want to talk about this is an artist colony? Like this isn't a fucking artist colony. This is where badass motherfucking hardcore comedians go. Basically with the oomph of like we're not artists. We're fucking badasses. Right. You know what I mean? And then I mean not to say that I fully agree. I think of course stand up is an art, but I get what he's saying is like that kind of like. No fucks about it. Like, let's stop giving a fuck. Let's start being as raw as we are.
Yeah, it's the Viper Room, not theater school.
Absolutely. And then that kind of energy lasted from when he got off stage into the parking lot. And the hang was different. Everybody, so many people were there. So many people were around Joey. He pulled out some mushrooms and started eating mushrooms. Just in the midst of the hang, just bust out mushrooms, starts passing them around. Like, this guy is fucking crazy.
But he's a good crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, man, he's filled with love. filled with love.
I just think the store needs more people like that on stage.
Yep.
Than, I don't know.
And that's what Marino was saying is like, see, man, that's what the store has been missing. I couldn't figure out what it was, but that's what this place has been missing.
Yeah, but Marino likes
Joey
mushrooms,
Diaz.
so I mean, I'm sure he was happy Joe was doing mushrooms.
He was talking about mushrooms. That's what we need.
So, but Marino's like, I think he's been at the store longer than me. That's just, how is he not passed? And,
He won't get past.
I mean, I don't. Well,
I think you know what he'll get. He has that show up in the belly room,
Yeah.
which is perfect for. He's so. Have you seen that yet?
Once, but it was months and months ago.
Oh
I
no,
feel
no,
like it's
he's
totally
got it
evolved.
down now.
Yeah.
Like he just rides this thing. He's great at it, and he hosts the potluck. Like he's already hosted. That hadn't happened. Tommy had Marino hosting only
on holidays.
Holidays. It's such bullshit because nobody's even to be there on a holiday, and he is so good at hosting. Like Marino's fucking great.
Oh, he's the best.
But I just don't see him getting past. He's been banned by Adam too. Not because Adam has anything against him. I just think that I don't know, man. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love for him to be in there, but I do see him getting more cool shits like that. Like those hosting gigs and even La Jolla and being part of the store. And yeah, fuck it, dude. He might get some. That's another guy that would do great in late night, and who's definitely in his 40s. And
if he could make it to that point of the night,
I know, dude. He's got. I mean, he parties, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You got to ease off the jets. So you want to get to 1 o'clock.
This is I guess he's kind of always been like that, but he throws into overdrive.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I whatever, dude. He's the people. I mean, we're comedians, man. You can't begin to judge anybody for whatever
they're
putting in their bodies.
But that's what I like about the store. Like, if you aren't into drugs, people respect you enough to not offer you them.
Oh yeah.
And I like that's everyone's cool about their own choices, and no one tries to get you into their dark world unless you want to. And
that is cool. That when it comes to substance, if anybody's judging, they're nerds. I would think why would you give a fuck what we do? That's so lame.
I love being around it, even though I don't do it.
Right.
I love just seeing the utter chaos at the store. It's like the bar in Star Wars. It really is.
Yeah.
Every unsavory character in LA comedy ends up at the Comedy Store. So
it's that patio, man. It's magical.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I think La Jolla will be
for moths. Crazy moths.
Oh, I love it. I mean, where else, do full-time blow dealers get welcomed with open arms?
Eddie, come here, you son of a bitch.
Like the Improv, you'd be like, you got to get out of here, dude. Comedy says, hey, your booth is right over there, brother.
It is funny whenever I have a not comedy friend come in from out of town, and then they're trying to figure out, wait, who's this person? Are they a comedian? I'm like, no, drugs.
Yeah,
they're regular.
Not even that. We're implying it's just all a bunch of drug dealers. There's just people. I was just a person who hung out when I didn't have drugs. But I just was a character that was just allowed to exist in this universe.
Yeah,
and not just exist,
there.
but fit.
But you fit in because a lot of people don't fit in at the Comedy Store. You and Jen Moore, I always associate you guys together just because you kind of came in there together. There's plenty of people who aren't accepted at the store.
Yeah,
you try. There's a few people,
Oh God, and the harder that's the weirdest thing to explain too. I'm the harder you try, the more everyone will reject you. That's it's so crazy. Rel and I used to talk about this all the time when he lived with me, of just what is wrong with us that's our criteria. You have to not be that into us for us to be into you. The more into us you are, where it's get out of here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things. There's something that happens among the people just starting out, open micers and stuff like that when they're all together and then you're there, there's a lot of guys that would smoke me out, and I'd be kicking it with these guys that I don't even know that well, and they're just starting out, but they're nice enough to offer me to smoke and just some conversation. And there's a thing that they do, and I've been sitting on it because I want to start calling people out for this, but they say things to me through other people. They'll say something to the guy next to them about something righteous about themselves, in hopes that I catch the drift that this guy's cool and he's saying that, and he's basically saying that at me through the guy, and that's definitely a new comedian thing that you're without saying it to me, you want me to know who you are and that you're cool to hang. But next time I just want to call somebody out the second they start doing that, be like, dude, I know what you're doing, and they're gonna they're gonna deny it, but I was like, no, you're obviously talking to him.
Are you talking about Oligny?
Yeah, I'm talking about Oligny.
But he's gotten better. Like, he used to try. Was the perfect.
Yeah, he toned it way down.
Well, I think it was after the Comedy Store boxing matches where, I think he thought that was his way in with the cool kids, and then he maybe didn't perform as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can't be smoking cigarettes and drinking, 12 colas before your boxing match.
Yeah, and you're boxing a young man who's, in good shape, and Abby just.
Well, I was in his corner. I'm like, Eric, you gotta, fucking defend yourself or something. Although this has nothing to do with Tommy. I love the two 400-pound guys fighting. Taking 13 minutes in between rounds.
Oh my God, that was so great.
Oh my God.
Only the Comedy Store would sponsor that. Like, two guys who were clearly on death's door.
Like, we might have to call the ambulance.
Let's put them in an athletic event.
I didn't like that, though. I didn't like the boxing.
I mean, I thought the first fight with Josh Martin and Boone was awesome. It was legit. Like, they tried. Boone did better than I thought.
Yeah, Boone.
I just remember the owner going, he doesn't really have AIDS, does he? I'm like, no.
You don't think so?
I just I didn't like anything about that. Like, I love boxing. I'm a huge I still watch boxing, and I love comedy and comedians, and I still watch comedy. But dude, these guys aren't fighters. Like, they're putting people. It's just like, why would you make Josh Martin fight anybody? Why would you make Boone fight him? He's in his 60s. And these two fat guys. This isn't healthy. Sure, it's entertaining, but it's like, come on, dude, we're like brothers, man. Like, why would you want to put him through that? And especially what ended up happening to Oligny, I don't know, man. I hate to be the old guy here that's because I love violence, but I don't love it, but I like boxing.
Yeah, you do.
I like action.
You like those Japanese wrestling things Meyerowitz sends you.
Yeah, but that's not real.
Give Meyerowitz a development spot. I would love to see that guy.
I'm sure that would happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long, like you said, I think some of the older, I don't even necessarily mean age-wise people, but people who've been up there 5-10 years, and they've just done the same set or close to it. It's like, you got. Well,
without giving any charity cases, I think that like Adam's really smart about taking advice from some of the older guys, and I literally mean older guys like that, Kirk or
Tripoli.
Trip.
Tripoli's not old, but I mean,
right, and neither's Kirk per se, but I'm saying guys that are established comedians like Jeff Garland, you know what I mean, he'll listen to them, you know what I mean, and make decisions based off their advice, and he'd even ask them for advice. And I told him the first night I saw him, I was like, dude, what you got to do is, because he's so stressed out. I was like, what you got to do is kind of have kind of shadow Jeff Scott, have him train you, because he watched more comedy than Tommy did. You know what I mean? He knows how to do the line. And actually, after Duncan, he was offered the talent coordinator gig. He just turned it down. So this guy is he's totally the guy that could do that. But it's better that he doesn't, because he's the piano player. And that's too much for Jeff. He doesn't want to do that. But
he would have been a great choice.
He would have been a great choice.
He would have been very this person's funny, this person isn't. This person should go on after, to go. Who went on after Joey last night?
Brody.
Yeah, you would need someone like that.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
And someone to follow Brody who's can maintain that kind of
energy. And find things to do with David Taylor. People say get rid of him. I say hell no.
Oh, no.
I say definitely don't put him early. I'd say honestly, if I like to play. You ever like playing talent coordinator in your head?
Oh yeah.
I would.
I feel like I'd
time.
be good at it, but I would never dream of that job. But I always would think David Taylor would be good bringing up Don, because he's gonna ruin the room anyways, just through, and not to take anything away from David, is that's his act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very good, and especially if you're the remaining people there, that's more meat for you. I mean, you'd think that a big room filled with people would be better for any comedian.
The herd for Don.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people who are going to be on board,
and then just kind of right where they need to be. I just think that spot would be a cool David Taylor spot. Love what he did with Galern. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, or bring back Danish and O'Neill. I mean,
I didn't even think of that.
Guys like that need to be up there more, and just I just think you need to make it more of a privilege to hit that stage. And you've been up here for 10 years. Here's your 2 spots a week.
Oh yeah, you were already here before I was here, so.
Yeah. I don't think that should matter. I think you gotta. young guy like you who's doing better than some dude who's been up there for 10 years, socializing, not really doing comedy, then you get the spots. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, dude. I don't think I really love the Comedy Cellar. I'm like a huge fan of the Comedy Cellar, and they're so they're not developing comedians. They're developing acts. You know what I mean? Like they're so gun ho about. I mean, even to get in there, it's like you have to get okayed by some of the comedians. Like the comedians have to like kind of bring you in to even get a showcase.
I don't even think Tommy took recommendations other than from D'Elia. And D'Elia brought in some good people.
Yeah, sure.
Brent Morin and
I think Fahim too.
Fahim was like in that group, and maybe one or two others. And
well, he also like I don't know, man. Like people have been trying to get that Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd fit in at the store.
He asked a year ago. He told Bert Kreischer that he needs to park cars first, and
that's crazy.
It's insane. So like, this is the guy that's gone. And again, like, dude, I love Tommy. Like, I truly love him as deep as my heart goes. But the times have changed, and just like, I mean, if he really loves the Comedy Store, I think he'd realize how this is necessary, and that that this is good for comedy. And like, I don't know if he loved the Comedy Store more than himself, but I don't know. This is good. This is all positive. Everything's positive. Joey back. Rogan, I don't know Rogan.
I'm guessing until he squashes it out with Paulie.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put money on the fact that Joe Rogan's gonna be here.
I hope he does
within this month. Even
I mean, the good things you see at the Ice House with him could have been at the store.
I think there's more to come though, and I think like the whole Death Squad thing, and like I try to disassociate myself with them because I feel like nothing against them. I love Death Squad. Those guys have done only good for me, and been Red Band has helped me out so much, and of course Tony's my boy. We started, but like having like those people like come out to the store to see him, like those fans are amazing fans. They'll do anything they're so loyal, and it's like, dude, this opens the door for like if you guys like guys like Tony, or you like guys like Teeb and like Joe, like dude, you'll love dudes like Jamar or Gerard or Fahim. Like, dude, there's guys in there that like there's more stand-up comedians that I think the Death Squad dudes would really appreciate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think Red Band does a good job booking his shows. Like, just the comedy part. Mm-hmm. Like, that show I was on last week was awesome. I mean,
yeah, dude. You gotta love gotta love the Death Squad fans, man. They give you their full attention. They're so respectful. Yeah. Like, when do you ever get 100% attention from a room? They believe you. It's like you go up, you're kind of famous to them. Like, they believe that since you're on the show, Red Band wouldn't do that to them,
Yeah,
and that's why I love them. I disassociate from them because I want my own,
Oh, we all want.
Yeah, but definitely like I'm so about them being there, and like and I think Joe would do good for the store.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think it'd be a good idea necessarily. And this is like, look, man, he'll probably demand those half an hour spots that he was getting. And not to say that he shouldn't. I think he should definitely have a few of those a week, but that can't be his every spot. And I heard that like that's what's going to be what would happen if Joe gets there. It's like, he'll just go up for hours. And it's like...
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I don't know Joe, but I do know Joe loves comedy. And I know he's a man of respect. And like, I don't think he would disrespect people like that.
I mean, I think a comedy club audience is built for 15-minute sets with people,
Oh yeah, especially if everybody's getting the same amount of time.
I think they get it's a pattern. They get used to it, and if I were at him, one thing I would do, and this probably wouldn't go over well, but I would really crack down on people running the light.
Oh God, yeah.
Because that
needs to happen. That's the first thing that needs to happen. But it comes down to that thing. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you solve that?
You take away spots.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's tough.
But you can't do that. You can't take away D'Elia's spots.
No, I'm not saying D'Elia. I mean,
So what? D'Elia gets to go over. Owen gets to go over.
I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you're right. What can you do if a big name comic goes over? But there's got to be some system in place where it's like there's consequences. Because I tell you what, and it's a broken record, but at Hermosa, nobody goes over.
Yeah, but you know what though? I think
established we don't care who you are. This is how it's done here. And
I
they
think-
Well, or the Cellar is another good example that you were just like, no one runs that late. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a few people, if it's like late, sometimes Jeff and Attell will go up together and they'll just, shit around and have a great time with the audience for 25, 30 minutes because it's the end of the show. It's
How
the
long
end
are
of the
spots
night.
there?
15.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, everyone just promptly gets off.
I mean, that's yeah.
And you know what? I think that's what it, because that's respect among comedians there. Like, like those, nothing bad could happen to you for going over, like, unless the club does something like punishes you or something. And I don't think that's gonna happen at the store necessarily. But I think that, look at man, name one guy on the lineup that's not a decent person, like somewhere inside of them, like.
Oh, we could name a few.
Yeah, but I don't think we
Really?
can,
Yeah.
man. I
That's
think
not-
everybody that's a paid
Yeah, that's
regular
like
on
a
that
really
lineup.
actual terrible
Everybody's
person.
reasonable. I think all those people that
Well, it
you
depends
can-
what you mean by terrible. Like,
There's
I'm saying that
ego
you-
and there's
I'm
hubris and there's...
I'm saying that enough of them, if you have like a literal man to man with any of these people, that they're reasonable enough to be like, okay, I won't go over.
I agree with you on that.
On that aspect, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody, they're all filth balls and.
We all have our skills.
Yeah. I mean, that's also what bonds us together. Is
Yeah.
we're all fucking disgusting.
But I just think if you like set some kind of a pattern of please don't run the light, maybe you send out a mass email,
Well,
get the ball rolling.
Put it on that, when like those memos would be under the lineup,
Yeah.
like one of those, they'd put them
Or pour one in the
back
kitchen
hallway.
maybe so the audience
couple
doesn't
of-
Or
see.
never
like-
even mind that because that's a little passive aggressive.
Or-
Just basically, before you go up, just be like, "Hey, we're trying to keep things tight and on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do it positive, put it out there."
Well, like what's his name? Brad Watson would play a note on the piano, like ding, and you would just kind of hear that after, like you're going way over. Like he wouldn't do that at 15.
I would like
but come 20, like hello, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
ding ding.
Because then the next person's going to run the light, and then everyone and then by the time Don gets on, I mean, I've seen Don go on at like 2:45. Like,
Oh, man.
And there's always going to be a pop in if Hannibal walks in or whoever, and I just think there's got to be some. I'm not saying turn it into an improv or a laugh factory, but you got to start like somehow
regulating.
Or you,
to a degree.
or
Yeah.
or you just account for it in the schedule. Like you just leave a spot open because you expect pop-ins
Yeah.
are going to come. So then you don't have. So yeah, you're shuffling people, but you're not losing.
Maybe,
time.
and I'm going off faith here, and faith in the people that go up at the Comedy Store. But maybe it's something where, like, if somebody goes over, it's like, well, you get that, all right. But then they keep on. You notice those themes. Like this guy runs a lot. I think it's like on maybe Adam even as a talent coordinator to talk to him. Like, look, man, like you have love here. This is your home. You're welcome here. But you also share this home with a bunch of other dudes that are waiting to go on, and some of these guys don't have as much spots as you, and they don't get to like have the crowds that you have, and all you're doing is fucking shit up for them. Like if you have it in your heart to like get off at your time and know that you probably have a spot at the Improv that you got to get to anyways, or like the guys that run honestly are the guys that shouldn't need to run.
Oh yeah,
they're all just coming from their factory spot, So I just think that like, and again, all reasonable men that like, and women that you can that you could easily have a. There does need to be more women there.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's terrible.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, Jen Murphy is the ultimate example.
Jen.
Even someone like fostering newer like potluckers into like at least friends and family, and there's no farm system right now for women. It's just kind of. I mean, I think there will be now with
but
Adam.
that's the thing too. Kind of back to what I said. I think a lot of women got stuck in friends and like Tommy's like, all right, I'm gonna pass you your friends and family. He throws them in the belly room and never watches them, and they've been on Friends and Family for 6 years now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that was, I think, the problem with development spots overall, men and women. Is I stopped doing them because I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't even think he asked anyone, hey, Tammy Joe, how'd my development spots?
Of course not. Of course, it was literally just so he'd give you something to like, like you said, the fuck off spots.
I mean, it was for you to have the time to use. It's not like
Right, he did give you
useless.
stage time, but it wasn't about advancing at the Comedy Store.
So, which is kind of like the carrot dangled in front of you. It's like, well, he can't pass you, but,
Yeah.
you are
those
getting
guys
in
that
there.
got that got passed for upstairs, like, I mean, that kind of happened after. Well, no, I guess I did. We had Tuesday, Friday, but it was only like a few. They weren't called developmental spots, but the guys that, like, nowadays, that when you get past and you go up there, it literally is like you're like Christmas lights, and you just go up into the attic, and that's where you stay, and then they just get new Christmas lights instead of bringing down the old ones. It's like, I don't know how you do it. And the people that get past now, like even Jamar, like, you know, that was a long time coming. That was a lot of people talking to Tommy. Moses had to, you know, create the roast battle,
which Tommy had nothing to do with. I find it funny that the two best shows right now are two shows that he had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
No, that was totally. There was a period of time because, you know, there was that period where you're like, well, Tommy's just going to be here forever, and who knows what's going to happen. And I had just completely, like, at some point the relationship soured so badly, and I saw so many things that I just was like, I can't even trust your judgment anymore. Like, there was a time when I gave him so much benefit of the doubt. And I was
totally.
I was like, oh, you're fucking with people's heads, but I think that this is all working out in the end. And then definitely, like, the past year or so, I just was like, I don't even know. But Kill Tony, Roast Battle, and now Marino's show, I was like, oh, thank God. There's like this secret back door where people actually can develop and get good and get seen and have people care about them and bring them in.
Yeah, there's dope shit happening, and like people have gotten.
And a lot of that was Adam made that possible. Adam was the one that got that to be allowed, for lack of a better word. Yeah,
I mean, like, God, look how different it is. Like, even now you have a girl in the cover booth. Like, like the times are changing, dude.
And, you know, I don't want to, like, shit on Tommy. You know, I think people assume I hated the guy because I wasn't, you know, passed. But, you know, I thought he did some good things. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he
good.
did a lot of good things, a lot of wrong things, and a lot of things that he should have done stuff when he didn't. And definitely passing you.
Oh, no, I mean, Tebow should be passed. I don't want people to think I'm trying to, like, sales pitch myself, but... You know, I just
but that's something that people, and especially your listeners, should know about you, is that, like, if you were to ask any paid regular, like, definitely Earl should be a paid regular. And that goes, like,
well, dude, and more importantly, too, like, ask anyone around town. People who are not part of the Comedy Store family are like, how is it, like, you're an example people give me when they're trying to tell, who hate the Comedy Store and why, you know, when they're arguing.
You were crushing when I first started.
Yeah.
I mean, Tripoli said the other night if they had a fantasy draft for who should be passed first, I would be the first pick.
Oh, my God. Is someone doing this? Can we put money on this?
Oh, that would be great.
We should get that going.
Oh, my God.
Get that pot going.
But I mean, I actually, you know, you'd think, you know, we had several things in common, you know, music interest and certain TV shows like The Wire and The Shield and Sons, and we once had an hour conversation about David Lee Roth's solo albums. So it's like, I wanted to like him, but I just, he would do these things to me personally. Like, you know, one night he said, hey, I like what you're doing late night. Show up tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. And I want to see you in the room's building. And I was like, wow, man, that means a lot to me. So I came at 9 o'clock and I went on at 2:15 after Carlos Herrera, who wasn't even, and it's like, I mean, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but it's like, I just don't understand why you would do that. Like,
well, I'm telling you, he probably forgot.
Yeah.
And not, I mean,
I don't think he did though.
Oh,
I think
so
he
was fucking with you?
Absolutely. Like, I think when he told Adam, I'm passing Earl, he knew within 5 minutes I would get a call from Adam, which I did. And and I'm not the only one he did that to. I mean, I mean, 50, 60 comics I know were told that they're the next in line, and I just, that's
Matt,
why
you were next in line for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just don't, you know, like Jamie from the Improv, like we said earlier, it's the same job, and you won't find one person to say, oh, that guy's an asshole, man, he won't put me up, because he told you, hey, I can't, you know. Yeah. So you go to the Improv in a great mood, hoping you get up. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but there's no false expectation.
Yeah. You know what I do, kind of talking about the different Tommies, like, I do often, like, I think I grieved Tommy leaving before it actually happened because of the loss of our relationship.
So true.
Because I loved, oh my God, I used to love Tommy, and I miss that. Like, he would just tell me stories about the store. We'd just start bullshitting about anything. And, like, it was before he would start doing that thing where he was shit-talking comics to me. Like, he would talk about comedians and what he saw in them. And I won't necessarily go as far as say he had no idea what funny was, but like, you know, he would just be like talking about comedians and why he passed them or how they grew or what they used to do and what they do now. And in young guys too. And he'd be like, well, this is what I see in this person and blah, blah. And it was so awesome. It was amazing. And it felt like, it was like the magical side of that whole store myth that he completely bought into. It was like, yeah, we are in this place where there's this guy and he cares so much and he loves this and he loves the history, but he loves the future too. And like,
he loved the future. He loved talking about it. Loved
my
like, you know, what his plans were. And but then, dude, I mean, the last year I couldn't even talk to the guy. Like, if I were to say anything, no, I could see him getting ready to talk over me. With everything that was coming out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, he's not listening. He's ready to... yeah, you're right, Tommy.
Literally, after I got fired, we did not say one word to each other for, I think it was 7 months.
Oh, man. Jesus, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I think he was having personal problems, too, and that probably didn't help his...
yeah, that's true.
You know, his
there was
frame of
stuff
mind. And,
right.
You know,
he's definitly going through stuff at home.
Yeah, and that's no fun. I mean...
And that's what I always... Man, I mean... I know he would forget me and just like, you know, forget that he's developing and throw me at the end of the lineup, and I'd get butthurt for, you know, I had been butthurt for so long that I stopped caring about it. But one thing that got me through like not giving a shit to the point where I just show up for my spots and that's that, was knowing that like this guy's also dealing with something that we don't know about, like something at home with this girl and like, and you know. And that was always a thing. Like, dude, well, I'm not going to say anything, but...
and he was also, you know, fail's the wrong word, but he was a aspiring musician, and I'm sure...
The guy had dreams.
You know, he had dreams just like you and I do, and you, and you know, and plus, you know, if you have personal problems, the store is probably not the best place to spend time in. It'll just...
I disagree. When I am having personal problems, the store is my favorite, most comforting place to be.
Well, it depends what they are. Like, if you're having a breakup problem, it's probably a good place to be because there's always...
that gets you over breakups.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
but if you're having a
tour of the belly room will take care of that.
just a couple tours.
But it's also, you know...
I remember Tommy walked in on one of my tours. Walked right out. He was really cool about it. Oh, sorry. God, I see the weirdest things around here.
No, he did that to me, too. He just gave me a look and just, like, he did, like, the quickest U-turn I've ever seen a human. So, but, well, you know, there's probably more to be said. You know, in a few months, we'll have an Adam eBay evaluation podcast.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I actually think we should totally follow up with that, you know, the pot who's the first to get this fantasy draft.
I want to do this for real.
Well, post, you know, because you have a...
That's true. I have a little bit of an objective distance from it.
Well, no, I mean, I think people look to you as like the mama hen of the comedy scene, and I mean that in a very...
Oh, no, I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to have on your...
Yeah, on my site.
Just something silly and fun, and you know, it's probably a list of 10
kind of like
names.
an ongoing storyline too. You know what I mean? Like you'll have a series on your site.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have a draft. Each person gets a draft.
Yeah, and I think you should also.
Should we do a draft, or do people get to? Well, we'll hammer out the rules.
I mean, you could either you just pick one person. And at the end of the day, whoever gets the most votes gets in. No, I'm just kidding. Or you could have teams. You know, it could be, I pick...
or it could be like odds. You know, it could be just like as many people as want can take Earl Skakel, but this is how much you've got to put in to bet on Earl.
Yeah, and Yasser and Candace and Jen Murphy.
Or we could do a draft where it's just kind of, you know, luck. And
there's probably 10 to 15 people who have a legitimate...
Like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like opposite.
Oh, I can't wait.
So let's. All right, we've.
All right.
There we go. That's a good way to end it. I mean, you know, Tommy was probably the most interesting character in 15 years of doing comedy in LA I've ever come across. I've never seen someone either liked or hated. Nothing in between.
Well, I don't know if I'd be a paid regular or, you know, like I definitely would still be a comedian somewhere, but the guy definitely. You know, at 21 years old, I had no idea how to begin. He gave me a start.
Oh, he did a lot of good.
That's all you could ask. Some people don't ever even get a start, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he hired Josh Martin. I mean, how many people? But, I mean, how many people would it take? I respect Josh with, you know, in this business of stand-up, to have a speech impediment.
Oh, yeah.
and to go. No. I want you to say no. I want you to say whatever you're going to say. This is no filter. But
no, I don't want to. I don't want to run over. I feel like we're wrapping up.
No. I thought you guys said, I don't want to. We're not. We could stay for the next hour. I think though, to be a comic with a speech impediment at the Comedy Store is something that I probably would not do.
Oh yeah.
I like Josh probably more than most people do, and I think that it's been perfect for him. It's helped him grow in a lot of ways, and get involved in things, and that's really awesome. But this is gonna sound shitty, and most of them are people I very personally like, but I also felt like there just became this period of time where Tommy wasn't even hiring people because he was like, oh, I see you as a paid regular in the future. It was just kind of like, I think I can get you to go along with my stuff. Like,
You're probably right. Like Jared
stuff
Levin.
I can't talk about, but like like there were conversations I had with him where he would be like talking about, whoever, and I mean, he would shit talk people all the time, but like he was earnestly talking about it like, well, I can't, pass this person because they're just not. I'm like, you hired them. Why are they not funny if you hired them? I thought you were supposed to be hiring these people because you believed in them. You can't, there's no buck to pass if you're complaining that, oh, this crop of door guys isn't funny.
Yeah, you hired him.
That was one of the two things that was the point where the entire thing, I was like, I'm done.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that I've always wanted to change, and this probably wouldn't go over very well. It's just that, I understand working at the store is a minimum wage job, and it's not a lot of glory. And, sitting at the back gate or back door and just, like a monkey, can I see your ID? But I think too many employees just never really developed because I got 2-3 spots a week,
Yeah.
Granted, they're not the greatest, but there was no incentive to, like, improve. It was like you were just given spots. And I don't know. I just think some system could have been better that,
That's true. Plus, you're not able to do other spots because you're sitting at that door.
Yeah. And the best is watching Jared Levin work the back door. He would let Bin Laden in. I mean, I saw him let this group of people in the other day that couldn't have been older than 16. He's like, I'm obsessed with him. I want him to make it so I can see what he would act like with money.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's in the clouds.
Oh, he's the best.
If he had a lot of money, what's going to happen. He's going to end up one of those schemes of like, did you know so-and-so is actually broke because their agent, manager, accountant, stripper girlfriend just ran off with all the money.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
He
would lose all his money.
It would be bad.
But just to see him those few months while he had it, it would be just the best.
Yeah.
So,
that run, that first
that's
the
true.
glory
first
run,
purchases.
showing up in a Porsche or something, with the shirt up unbuttoned and some whore he met at the Rainbow, and well, we'll do the fantasy draft. We're gonna let's start on that tomorrow or whenever this weekend.
Get the guys talking.
Any final thoughts on Tommy, Matt?
Tom, if you're listening, I miss you. Thank you for getting me my start. I'll never forget you or all the things that you've taught me and some of the conversations we've had. I love you, and I wish you well. Amy. I doubt Tommy listens to this. So
he might. I got the 80s.
He's got time on his hands now.
Yeah, if you're just kicking it, well, right about now, you would be in the OR.
Well, I don't know if he would be
10:30.
He'd be playing guitar. Amy, any
I guess my final thought is what you've been saying. He was a complicated figure, and I can't go one way or the other. There was so much good that he did for me personally and for the store, and there was so much fucked up shit too. Like that's it.
Yeah, if I could sum up in one sentence, I would say he turned away more talent than he put up. And I don't mean that in like a dicky, passive-aggressive way. He put up some talent, but he just seemed to thrive on, like, I don't care if you're on a show. I'm going to put up this guy who gave me weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot, but I mean, there was definitely like one dude who was passed solely on him giving Tommy studio time. He wasn't even a fucking comic.
Yeah, he's not anymore.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about, and I don't know.
On the wall though.
No, that's the crazy thing. Provia's name is on the wall. I mean, and people always disagree with me I wanted to get rid of Bob years ago and give that spot to someone like, say, an Angelo Bowers or you know, and someone who should be passed, but you can't. So many people left the Comedy Store that when it was Sunday and Monday nights going, what the fuck was that? They started.
Oh, I wonder if that's gonna change.
I don't think it
wonder if
will.
The Sunday and Monday will come back.
But that
No, Sunday's never coming back as long as it's making money.
Is it making money?
I don't know actually, but
someone brought up a good idea, maybe half and half. Maybe do a mini potluck, mini employees, and then start a show or something.
or the other way, you could do it. You know, you could do an early show, start the show at 8, run a short show like an improv type show that's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever, and then do potluck.
Like the Improv did with
with that
PDB, the late night open. I don't know if it was considered an open. I think it was like a
semi-booked,
booked open mic.
Yeah.
There's ways to like.
Oh, that was so great.
So you know.
It sucked that turned.
Yeah, no.
into what it did.
PDB always took care of me.
What was that?
There was this period of time at the Improv, and they'll do it periodically with Jamar now, but it's way more booked up. But it was this like semi-booked. It was midnight on Friday and Saturday, and then it
I do
got cut
remember
down.
that.
Yeah, and there was like 6 people that were booked. It was like the pop-ins that you get after 10 o'clock at potluck, and then the rest of it was basically run like an open mic, and you could come and you could go up, but like Rita would come by the room, like people were paying attention, and it was like actually a thing.
And people would stick around for
Yeah,
the show.
and it was free when people would stick around from the 10 o'clock show. And there's that one guy, what's his name? But he became like this loyal fan, and I think
Al. He's
Al,
a big
yeah.
Mexican dude.
Yeah, and then I think he like started a room wherever it is that he lives or something like that.
I'll probably get past before. I put Al in the fantasy draft. He'll probably get past before me.
I don't know, dude. You're up in my list, man.
Well,
Yeah.
let's. I don't want to.
Well, we'll see.
I don't
And
want.
again, there could be wild cards like somebody just
Yeah.
famous, you know what I mean? Or like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think famous. I would.
Because does that count? Would that count though? Like we
I
have
don't
to,
think
there has to be a
famous-
level.
Yeah, there has to be rules.
because of course, if
Well,
Brian
sure.
Regan showed up,
Yeah.
he's going on.
But I think in the spirit of what we're talking about, it's the
internal
Yossers,
draft.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Josh Adam Myers,
Yeah.
Jen Murphy. I'm trying to think who else.
picking from the farm team. That's the rule.
Yeah. So, and but these people, even whoever gets past the next, I think, it's not like you're going to be going on after Dalia. You're going to be going on at like 1 o'clock, and so I think there's almost too much hope with some of these people. I know, like, I wouldn't be I would be excited for the one spot a week or whatever it would be, but I would know it'd be going on pretty late or early, and like, people got to be realistic.
Yeah.
The next group who gets past thinks that, it ain't going to be all roses for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's better than what you have.
Yeah, it's about
Which is
getting
nothing.
past though. It's almost not even about the spots at first. Like you just want that,
that
your
validation.
legacy.
See, for me, it is. See, it's the opposite for me.
You actually just want the stage.
I don't
time.
care about my name on the wall as much, but I just to be seen by, like, I think selfishly for me, I think I'm seen as, almost a dude who loiters in the weeds and like.
Not even.
I mean, to a degree though. I mean, Chris D'Elia came up to me once after I had a call back from Montreal. He's like, "Dude, I didn't even know you did comedy," and I was like, "Oh fuck."
But
dude.
that's the thing, though. Going back to something, that's a very
Don't tell me that.
store-specific thing of that. Like, you are brought up by people. Like, people outside the store know you and respect you and are like, "Why is he not getting more at the store?" That's one of my examples of what's wrong with the store.
So no, I know, but I just still would rather be seen as like a comic than the guy, sitting in the back,
The chair drummer.
with Kenny Lyon yelling out,
Well, dude, I mean,
whatever.
it's the view's always different inside looking out, but
sure.
I'm telling you, man, you got the respect of comedians as a comedian.
I mean, that's what I really care for.
like you're a comedian's comedian. You know that?
Yeah.
That means I'll probably never make it, though. That's
Probably.
the worst fucking thing. But no, I'm just.
I never said you're
You're
gonna
doomed
make
to
it.
call
Right.
hero status.
But I mean, when you, hey, whatever. I'll take whatever I get and be happy with it. So, Matt, where can we find you on Twitter?
At Matt Edgar.
Spell it for my fans.
got it.
The
Yeah,
smartest, please.
Mine's a little different. It's Matt has one T in it, so it's Matt Edgar and Edgar.
And Amy, I don't even know what is. Are you at Amy Hawthorne or at Comedy
Comedy
Groupie?
I have two. There's at Comedy Groupie, and the one that's like just me is
Right.
Amy E. Hawthorne. And Amy spelled the easy way, AMY. And it's just sort of like, there's a lot of stuff, I'll put on both, but it's just sort of to differentiate, like, I'm a human being, and that's like a business brand website.
Yeah, you have a regular
thing.
job. I mean, like, a job you don't want, like, PJ tweeting at you, hey, great tits, man.
Well, I mean, that happens anyway. Except
Well,
not
you
with
do have
PJ,
them.
but-
I mean, without a doubt.
And that it's fuzzy. There's no like hard and fast rule. People tag me and say things either way. It doesn't matter. But for the more newsy, if you want gossipy, newsy,
Comedy group. Yeah, what's the blog?
comedygroupie.com. And at Comedy Groupie on Twitter is where we'll be doing our fantasy draft.
But also go for the articles, because you're a very objective person, I think, and you're like the Matt Drudge of comedy, like, and that's a compliment.
No,
Once again,
yeah.
probably doesn't sound like one, but he just puts the stuff out there, and you make your own decisions on.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like about your writing is that I can never tell what side you're on.
Yeah.
Like there are no sides. It's like this is the information, and this, I don't know, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
There's
Unless
nothing
I'm
really
like
like it.
specifically writing it to take a side. Like I did a little thing on Jay Okerson recently, just to basically be like, hey, this guy is fucking cool.
he's
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So
that kind of
that's-
stuff is
yeah.
cool. When you're talking about one comedian, of course,
Yeah.
that's definitely your opinion.
Yeah.
But there's never hate. I don't see hate on your thing. It's just like talk about what's going on. Why would you talk about what there is to hate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I never do anything like that because I'm not a Yelp reviewer. With nothing else to do with my life, and B, why would I do that? Why would I spend 45 minutes of my time thinking about something I don't like when there's so much to like out there? Why don't I spend that 45 minutes writing about something I love?
Well,
True
but there's negativity does sell from the
I know.
standpoint of the
quite
store at
frustrating.
times can be a negative. Play. I mean, the other night there was almost a brawl in the parking lot, and between two comics, and
no shit.
oh yeah, it got real heated. I mean,
Like who? Pay regulars?
I'll tell you off air.
We have so many. I can't even.
Yeah, no, I
bookmark
gotta remember
things
all
we
the
gotta talk
girls
about
that you
off
know
air.
of that are texting Adam for spots.
Oh, I
and
already know
shit.
that. There was another one.
This
I gotta know
off-air podcast might last longer than the on-air part, but it was a horribly negative situation developing, and just people started driving back because people were texting, "Hey, get back up here! There's a big thing about to happen," and it got really heated to
Dude,
the edge.
We gotta sign off, man. I gotta hear this shit.
Yeah. So
sorry.
killing me.
I wanted you guys on because I thought you guys were the perfect combination to my semi anti Tommy, but like I said, I wasn't completely against
No,
him.
not at all, man. Good conversation. I always like kicking it, Earl.
Yeah, but I mean, you are someone who I think you're kind of like a young version of me from the standpoint of like a man in the middle. You see both sides, and you're definitely that, Amy. I don't want to say you're a young version of me, but I don't have nice as tits as you do. But so this will guys, girls, Inappropriate Earls on SoundCloud and iTunes. Rate and review us. This will probably be out tomorrow morning. And, it's a fascinating time in LA comedy. So big changes are in place. Adam Egypt, tweet him, and, get involved in the fantasy comedy.
Yeah, you know what,
draft.
dude? Wouldn't that be a cool thing if people tweeted
You
at
might
Adam
not like that, but
ideas for like how he should coordinate talent?
No, that's terrible.
hey, Adam, let's
Don't
have
do that,
strippers in
people.
the
Yeah,
OR.
don't do that.
Hey, Adam, how about a cocaine Pez dispenser in the belly room? So thank you guys for listening. Amy and Matt, you guys are two of my best. Like, if I quit comedy today, I would talk to both of you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
there's not a lot of people you can say that
Nope,
about.
not at all.
All right, now we got to shit talk off the air.
Bye.
Goodbye, folks.